The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised. How can parents navigate this new landscape? Take a look.
Confusion, questions, and objections, gender diversity is the topic of conversation these days. In California, a mom took legal action against a school district after two teachers allegedly, secretly manipulated her 11-year-old daughter into believing she was a transgender boy. Over in Florida, lawmakers passed HB 1157, dubbed the Don't Say Gay Bill, which bans teaching young students about gender diversity. Proponents of the bill say it's needed to prevent groomers, or specifically gay and trans teachers, from attempting to corrupt children. Outrage surrounds these measures at every turn. So from policies to pronouns, what's a parent to do?
Joining us to dig deeper is leading expert in the field of transgender healthcare, gender reassignment surgeon, Dr. Marci Bowers, and also joining us is the author of The End of Gender, neuroscientist, Dr. Debra Soh. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Marci, let's start with you. Dr. Bowers, having transitioned yourself many years ago, can you share your perspective on the current state of affairs?
There is nothing more core to an individual than their own gender identity. People get the idea, though, that because I've transitioned, that I can't be objective about this. But really, my identity doesn't just start and end with trans. I'm also a mother, I'm a parent, I'm a concerned citizen, but I'm a doctor. So those things really take precedent. And most of all, what I am really is an optimist, and I think that this exploration of this area between male and female is actually a healthy thing for society.
Depending where you live, gender expression is either applauded or unfortunately completely struck down in schools. So, there's really a big diverse opinion out there. What's your take, Marci?
Well, it's always a very bad precedent when you shut down exchange of information. Shutting down an open discussion, I think that's a really dangerous precedent. In my era,
can I jump in though? When you, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm wondering, when you say shutting down discussion about information, what if this information is not backed by science? Is that still a helpful dialogue to teach children?
Dr. Debra, all of our decisions are backed by science as much as we can. This field hasn't evolved the way it has without a healthy adherence to science, and it is backed up.
But something like gender fluidity, can you tell me what is the science backing that concept up? Because this is being taught to children as young as in kindergarten, and it's not backed by science.
What harm is it to society that we're talking about gender identity? This is all the new generations do, is it's just trying to put words to these kinds of feelings.
I would argue it's not just about giving words to these feelings or to try new things out. I mean, in some cases, young people are actually undergoing medical interventions that they later go on to regret. I mean, if you look at the situation with education,
Dr. Soh,
these children are being groomed into a particular ideology that activists have decided to take on for themselves. We see multiple lawsuits happening in the last few months alone.
That's simply,
totally
I don't know where you're
inappropriate.
getting your information, but if you're going to go off and
are you questioning these
lawsuits,
whether or not they've actually happened? Because there have been. How can you do that though?
I'm questioning the premise of where we're going with this conversation.
Since the fall.
If the conversation is about looking to talking about gender identity, then we need to have a healthy dialogue, not an assault of isolated cases, rare instances of regret, and lawsuits that I haven't seen, and the gender therapists I know are not seeing these kinds of regret issues. These are discussions
I would argue
that we
that's
have.
because the therapists are on board with the activism and on board with the ideology, and that's why they're not having a problem. Other clinicians who are not on board with this ideology have their hands tied by the law, because they will. In Canada, we have a law that just passed that a clinician can potentially face 5 years in prison if they don't affirm an individual seeking gender affirmation. And in the states, you have 24 states that have banned any therapy that is not affirmation.
That is not true. What they're banning is conversion therapy, where you're trying to turn someone who's gay or transgender back to their birth gender.